The arts really affect everybody every day.
It forms the personality and the characteristics of the community that you live in and the values that you have as a community.
If you look at the community that we as a state want to become, you look at communities where arts are a very big part of life.
Art is so powerful and it can elicit such strong emotions.
It's a cathartic experience for all of us, like something that can heal communities and people.
I had the arts to help me through COVID.
It helps us process as a society in such a better way and creates that emotional benefit for the community.
And I think it helps us make sense of our lives and where we're at and where we're going.
Artistic expression is part of the soul of the community.
It's my honor to welcome you to this year's Indiana Governor's Arts Awards. This year's award recipients prove that no matter where you live in our great state, all roads lead to art. The arts community plays such a huge part in our state's success. So thank you for the work you've done, all those expressions of talent, and all you continue to do to accomplish that goal. Throughout COVID-19 and the pandemic that's unfolded, you all haven't slowed down one bit. And I've been so encouraged by the story after story after story of resilience right from within our arts community. Like the Heartland Artists Gallery, partnering together with the Marshall County Jail on an art program that helps addicted offenders recover and prepares them for re-entry into the community. Over in Howard County, the Kokomo Civic Theater put on a parking lot concert for residents of the Primrose Retirement Community. And down in Evansville, the Philharmonic Orchestra held a socially distanced World War II Pops concert in an airplane hangar and live streamed it to all of our local hospitals and nursing homes in that area. Throughout it all, you've kept your eye on the ball and worked to positively impact the cultural, economic, and educational climate of our great state. Congratulations to this year's deserving recipients. I can't wait to see what you all create next.
Each year, the Indiana Arts Commission selects an artist to design the physical award presented to each award winner. These awards not only commemorate an achievement, but exist as unique pieces of art. Let's take a look at this year's artist.
One of my goals in art is to create something that is, satisfyingly beautiful. I'm literally inspired by everything. There's no shape or form that's too mundane for me. There's an elegance in everything if you just take the time to observe it. I'm DeMaris Gaunt. I'm from Greenwood, Indiana. I've been in Nashville for about 3 years. I work in glass. I do stained glass art. Each piece of glass is ground on a grinder so that the edges are smooth, and then I wrap each piece in copper foil. And then I solder all the pieces together and you have a stained glass panel. I also work in mosaics, so I work in both glass mediums. I source a lot of my glass from Kokomo Opalescent Glass Company. It's wonderful, and for somebody who works in stained glass and to be able to see it made is pretty fantastic. It's like my favorite. Fundamentally, I am an artist of shapes and colors. The sculptures that I made for the Governor's Art Awards reflect that. They are just like a happy expression of color and shape. I decided that I wanted to make these little, what I call tiny dancers. They have a personality because they have energy and movement. One of the things that I want to convey in my art is not only that it's beautiful, but I want it to be like a little bit of a shock. I want it to be, wow, I have never seen anything like this before. And I think that the sculptures that I've created for the Governor's Art Awards will deliver that little shock. I have to make and create art that reflects what I want to say about the world. And it doesn't matter that there will be critics or that there will be, people who don't understand it. If I create something that is beautiful, that is the point. That is the point of what I create.
When you think of art in Tippecanoe County, you automatically think of Jim Bodenmiller. There's not one place that I can look around the community that I know that he hasn't had a hand in, either directly or indirectly.
My name is Jim Bodenmiller, and I live in West Lafayette, Indiana. I'm a Buckeye originally and moved to Indiana 50 years ago. I started soon after we moved here becoming involved in the arts. I think it all started probably when I was a kid, and my mother was always very encouraging to give me exposure to the arts. And so once I became an adult, I realized, well, maybe I have something to give back.
Jim has made many contributions to the arts landscape here in Tippecanoe County. Not only has he served as president on all of the major arts organizations, including the Art Museum of Greater Lafayette, the Lafayette Symphony Orchestra, the Tippecanoe Arts Federation. He was ahead of the curve with regard to community and economic development and how the two would match. And as a passionate artist himself, he literally practices what he preaches. Knowing Jim and learning more about him over the last 13 years has been a true joy. I nominated him because I feel like he's made such a tremendous impact, not only on Lafayette and Tippecanoe County, but the entire state.
I was nominated by Governor O'Bannon as a member of the Indiana Arts Commission. And that was at the time when they are just making the partnership transition. The idea was to take the arts out to the people more than it had been in the past, because before that time, all the grants were initiated in Indianapolis, and this was an attempt to get the community people out in these different regions more involved in the arts, and I think that's exactly what's happened.
The advocates are the ones that are brave enough to have those conversations with the individuals in power, to acknowledge the importance and the role that the arts should play and do play in our society. He's great fun to go to the State House with and to meet with our elected officials.
I think many of them don't understand the role that the arts play in a well-balanced community. Frankly, it gives you an opportunity to nourish your souls. I mean, we all need that.
He's doing it because he knows it matters, and it's for the greater good for all people.
If people stop and think, the arts really affect everybody every day. That's why it's consistently important to promote the arts, to educate the public, and to be involved. That's my philosophy, and probably will continue as long as I can.
My Michael Cleveland and Flamekeeper.
There's something about bluegrass that's different than any other kind of music that I can think of. The groove is very important of bluegrass music. You know, you got to play with intensity that creates this excitement and this energy. My name is Michael Cleveland, and I'm from Henryville, Indiana. I live in Charlestown, Indiana currently. Bluegrass has just always meant family to me. My grandparents loved the music and started a local bluegrass association in Henryville, Indiana. They started taking me to bluegrass shows when I was about 6 months old, so I heard. I've never not been around bluegrass, I guess. I heard a fiddle player when I was 4 years old play Orange Blossom Special, and that's what really made me want to play. They had a Suzuki violin program at school, and I started taking that, and I did that until I was about 12 or 13. I always wanted to play bluegrass, but I think without getting started in Suzuki and having the fundamentals of classical, I would have never been able to play, or maybe if I did, it would have been a lot slower going. I was born blind. I never experienced sight. You definitely learn how to listen, which is one of the most important things about music. Having the ear training has helped a lot. My favorite thing about creating music is when you can get 5 or 6 different minds on something and come up with an arrangement, and everybody kind of chips in and really figures out where a song lives. That's what makes the song, and to really figure out a song and its full potential, that's a lot of fun. The Grammy was a big honor. I really didn't know what to expect. I kind of hoped that we had a shot at it, but you just never know how that stuff is going to turn out. And a lot of friends of mine were nominated too, so it was really cool to be able to hang out with people that I've known all my life. We're all nominated for a Grammy and we're in LA. Yeah, it's kind of surreal. I've been very fortunate. I've gotten to play with a lot of my musical heroes and had a great time along the way. I have a lot of fun when I play, so if people who listen to my music have near as much fun as I do, then that'll be good enough for me. Thank you all so much.
Ever since you've been leaving me, I've been wanting to cry. Now I know how it feels for you. I've been wanting to die, but it's much too late for goodbye. Yes, it's much too late for goodbye. Time has gone since I've been with you. We've been starting to die. Seems you don't care for me. I don't understand why, but it's much too late for goodbye. Yes, it's much too late for goodbye. Ever since you've been far away, I've been wanting to fly. Now I know what you meant to me. I don't wish you cry, but it's much too late for goodbye. Yes, it's much too late for goodbye.
Grass. Y'all doing all right? Oh man, you sound like it. They're a wild bunch, Josh. We got to get wild. Man, this has been such a blast getting to hang out here the whole week. I've never been able to do that, and just to hang with everybody and watch all the bands, it's just killer. We're having a blast out here. Thank y'all for being with us. And we're going to do you a couple songs from our latest album, our Grammy-winning album. We won a Grammy and shut the whole world down a couple of years ago. But we're going to get Chris and Josh to sing you a John Hyatt song we did bluegrass style called Tennessee Plates.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. What to do, turned the TV on and wrote a letter to you. News was talking about a drag that up on the interstate. Said they were looking for a Cadillac with Tennessee plates. Since I left California, baby, things have gotten worse. Since the land of opportunity for me is just a curse. Till a judge in Bakersfield, my trial will have to wait. Down here we're looking for a Cadillac with Tennessee plates. It was somewhere in Nevada, it was cold outside. She was shivering in the dark, I offered her a ride. 3 bank jobs later, 4 cars hot-wired. We crossed the Mississippi like a Noah sled choir. Wouldn't have let us in when we landed in Memphis like original sin. There was Presley Boulevard to the Graceland gate. See, we were looking for a Cadillac with Tennessee plates. Well, there must have been a dozen of them parked in that garage. There wasn't one Lincoln and there wasn't one Dodge. There wasn't one Japanese model or made. Just pretty, pretty Cadillacs with Tennessee plates. She saw him singing once when she was 17. Ever since the day she's been living in between. I was never king of nothing but this wild weekend. Anyway, wouldn't care how he gave him to his friends. Tennessee prison up at Brushy Mountain, where your sincerely's doing 5 to 8. Hey, oh! see plays.
Hurley Goodall was just a phenomenal individual, a great statesman, phenomenal civil rights leader.
He loved the arts and education. He was just a simple man with a world vision. He didn't want his sons to go through what he went through, and that was not seeing any of the teachers to look like him. I think that began to start melting something within him, because as soon as he got out of the military, he became the first African American on the Board of Education for the city of Muncie. He springboarded from the Muncie Community School Board to the House of Representatives, where he served for 14 years.
He was one of the founders of the Indiana Black Legislative Caucus, as well as an organization called the Indiana Democrat African American Caucus.
Evan Bayh recognized Hurley as someone who could help the arts all across the state. He was appointed to the Indiana Arts Commission as a commissioner in 1994.
That really elevates a commission to another level when you have a legislator who can actually push forward issues that are affecting the arts.
He was instrumental in developing what we all know now is the 12 regional partnerships that are all across the state. And then he was appointed to the committees that developed the Arts Trust, and he wrote that legislation. And he was also instrumental in the development of the license plate.
There's a lot of organizations that want to get their own license plates, but there are a limited number of license plates that are available. So that is a major accomplishment, and particularly for it to go on as long as it has. He has just done an amazing job making sure that there was money brought back to his community.
He was big in education. He and his wife, Fredine, worked with the Community Foundation and created educational funding for students of Ivy Tech and Ball State University. He was hand-delivered a $29 million check for Worthing Arena.
He touched that university in so many ways because of his love for the campus and his love for Muncie.
Professors at Ball State were able to help him gather the information to represent the African American community. And then at the end of all of that, he had this wonderful document, which then became what's known now as the Black Muncie History Collection, which he assembled and gave to the Bracken Library.
His work will go on for a long time, and there are so many people who are benefiting from his work and they don't even know it. He had so many interests and talents. The arts is just another one of those things that he had his hand in.
I think his legacy is going to be something that keeps building.
For over 20 years, the Arts Trust License Plate Program has given Hoosiers the unique opportunity to support the arts through the simple purchase of a license plate. This trust provides critical resources to arts programs across the state, including museums, events, exhibits, performances, education, and more. Let's take a look at one of these programs.
The Andersontown Powwow is a celebration of our community's Native American heritage.
The festival offers a lot. We have an large artisans tent, and there are a lot of kids crafts and a lot of authenticated crafts that people can purchase. We've had the same consistent dancers come back every year to participate in the festival, and we have a lot of authentic Indian food.
The Andersontown Powwow was created in 2003. Our very first event was in 2004. So 17 years later, here we are, and the audiences just keep growing. The Indiana Arts Commission has been just a great source of support. The first year we applied was our second year in 2005. It's a relationship that's continued since then, and it's been very beneficial to our organization in helping to be able to expand our programs. We've been able to bring nationally recognized artists to serve as artists in residence at art classes at not only the local high school, but in the county schools as well. It's just a tremendous opportunity for the young people.
One of the importances of the grant is we have a very strong sponsor following.
The funding really just gives, it's like a stamp of approval or credibility, and it's important to other businesses and organizations that are wanting to be a part of this to know that you've gone through a competitive grants review. I think one of the most important things that the funding from the Arts Trust does is the support that they provide to art and cultural organizations. They've been able to, open doors, even provide additional, grant opportunities that they've made us aware of. It is just priceless, the support that they offer to community organizations like ours.
I loved writing when I was a kid. I studied writing when I was in college, although not very successfully, and ended up working as a temp at a magazine called Booklist. For so long, publishing had felt to me distant, and it felt like something that, is only for special people. But working at Booklist and seeing all of these books come and go, I realized that lots of people were writing books, and there was no reason I couldn't be one of them. And so for the 5 years that I worked there, I was working on a novel that eventually became my first book, Looking for Alaska. I've been lucky to have writing be at least part of my job ever since. I'm John Green. I've written several books, including The Fault in Our Stars, Turtles All the Way Down, and most recently a nonfiction book called The Anthropocene Reviewed. I like to write about self and how we understand the self and how we understand and acknowledge the self in others. So I like to write about empathy, and I like to write about falling in love and grief and loss. All the big feelings that have, dominated my own experience of being alive. My new book, The Anthropocene Reviewed, is a book of essays where I review lots of different things in the style of like an extremely in-depth Yelp or Amazon review. So I might review these cave paintings in Lascaux, France, or I might review Diet Dr. Pepper, or I might review the grocery store chain Piggly Wiggly. I've spent most of my professional career trying to imagine what it would be like to be someone else. And when writing this book, I wanted to, for the first time, try to make sense of how I look at the world. Indianapolis shapes my writing in deep, deep ways. Most of my books have been written while living in Indianapolis, and now most of my books are set, to one extent or another, in Indianapolis. I love writing about this place because I think it's very complicated, and also because I think it's been a little overlooked. I care so much about Indiana, and I think of myself so deeply as being somebody whose work is about and grounded in Indiana. And so it means a lot to me to have the place that I care about most in the world recognize my work in this way. The big lesson of the last 16 months for me is that I love writing, and I'm happy when I'm writing, and even in really challenging circumstances, writing needs to be a big part of my life.
The Harrison Center is an impact factory. Everything that's being generated out of here is positively impacting the community in so many ways, and so many initiatives have come out of this.
We are for the arts, and we're also for the city. We make neighborhoods stronger by using art to know and love our neighbors.
People are hungry for what the Harrison Center provides, which at its core is connection and relationships, and what is becoming increasingly rare in the world of digital lives and virtual living.
During the week, our artists have 24/7 access to their studios, so they are in and out all kinds of hours of the day and night. We also have galleries that are open every day for people to come in and enjoy, and that's from 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. But in addition to that, we have everything from drawing classes at night to Graytriarch art classes during the day to community basketball in our gym, because we're Hoosiers and you have to have a gym, right? And so this place is always bustling.
The Convertible Initiative, which the Lilly Endowment so generously partnered with and invested in, was all about opening up the building and making it more accessible and inclusive for everyone in our community.
Our building is really an art playground. While you might find a gym, you'll also find a karaoke elevator. We have a human hamster wheel for dogs, children, and adults to run on. We took out staircases and turned them into slides. We have a rooftop deck with LED tetherball. So come to the Harrison Center, and not only will you see beautiful art on the walls, you're going to find all kinds of public art that surprise you, that engage you, and make you hungry for more. It's important for artists to be able to focus on art. If you're trying to pay the bills, if you're trying to figure out where you're going to live, you're not able to pursue art. So we think about what is it that makes a person whole? How can we help them focus on what they do well? And what kind of services can we collect from the community and provide to our artists?
And that's what I love about the Harrison Center, especially today, is that it connects people in the community to make a positive change.
We're in a neighborhood, and urban Indianapolis really is a collection of neighborhoods that is like a small town. When neighbors are lonely, when neighbors need to process pain or trauma, when neighbors just need to laugh, when neighbors need to connect and find joy, they can do that at the Harrison Center. They can do that through art, and having an art center in a neighborhood is good for neighbors because they can flourish as well. At the Harrison Center, people are invited to be a part of a community, and it's a place where people are known and people are loved. And that is something that's an honor to offer to my neighbors.
It's important to support the legacy of the arts because the things that we enjoy today were created by the generations before us. We are Barbara and Bob Stevens from Columbus, Indiana.
We nominated Bob and Barb Stevens for their vision, for their compassion, for their loyalty, and their ability to really see something from start to finish. They've had an impact not only in their hometown Columbus, but in Nashville, and incredible work that they did with us at TC Steel.
The art scene in Columbus was very well developed before we arrived, amazingly so for a rather small community.
Other people, generations before, contributed to what we enjoy in Columbus, and it's part of our responsibility and something we enjoy doing to support going forward with things that'll help the next generations that move to Columbus.
Bob and Barb Stevens had an incredible impact on the Brown County Art Gallery.
When we saw there wasn't enough room for all the activities that we wanted to do, we embarked on an expansion program.
Today, that art studio and gallery is 3 times the size it was when they started.
With 8 galleries inside the building with different features and different exhibits.
That is how Bob and Barb Stevens contribute to any project. Not only their financial support, not only their business acumen, but their real understanding of what it means to visit a gallery and what's important to have so that people can truly focus on the art. The TC Steel State Historic Site is a 211-acre site in southern Indiana, and it has not only the original studio, the original house, but everything is as Selma left it.
20 years after the death of TC Steel, she donated this land and buildings and 300 paintings to the state of Indiana.
To say it was rustic with only outhouses and no running water would be an understatement.
You need a place to get out of your car and freshen up, whether you're hiking or whether you're looking at art. And there was nothing to welcome anybody.
So we contacted the State Museum. We volunteered that if the state could come up with the funding to make water flow uphill through the rock and take care of the sanitation, that we would work with them and share the cost of putting up a visitor center with all the amenities.
Today we have the Singing Winds Visitor Center, and in there are the amenities that we're missing, including a coffee bar, restrooms, and a water fountain. There's also downstairs an education room so that the future artists, the future TC Steeles, have an opportunity to learn from each other and from other students. They not only had the vision, but helped us develop it, implement it, and continue to support it.
I mean, it is a national treasure, and to be able to see people enjoy it and realize it's here in our backyard, that's something that brings a lot of joy to Barbara and me.
The arts will be prominent because they have made sure to appreciate the past artist, the present artist, as well as made room for the future artists.
Creating music makes me feel purposeful. If I'm working on a song that I'm excited about, I just wake up like super pumped to get out of bed.
You turned over a new leaf, I could see the yellow in your eyes, just like a tiger in
I'm Amy Oelsner, also known as Amy O. I'm originally from Fayetteville, Arkansas, and now I live in Bloomington, Indiana. I have a very musical family, so I was just around it. My mom is a choir director. She was teaching me how to harmonize when I was like 6. And then my dad is a songwriter. He was always like working on a song, so I think that just kind of showed me a way of being in the world. As a kid, I studied Suzuki violin. That has like an emphasis on ear training and not really so much on like music theory or reading music. I think that impacted how I write, because it's coming from like a very intuitive place and drawing a lot from music that I enjoy listening to. I try to kind of like harvest compelling moments in the world and bring it back for songwriting. It's a way of checking in with myself. So when I listen back to things I wrote 10 years ago, it's like, oh, that's how I was really feeling. I hope it makes people feel seen, you know, just that something I might have gone through is something that they've gone through. I grew up in Fayetteville, Arkansas. There was a great like all ages music hall. I just went to a lot of shows and was exposed to a lot of people touring through. I just don't think I would have even known it was an option, really, to be in a band, especially like where you're not a pop star, but you're just kind of like living your life and you're also having fun making music. In 2019, I started Girls Rock Bloomington. We have a summer camp and kids ages 8 to 16 come and we teach them rock and roll and they write songs and then do a big performance, and it's really fun, and it basically just like revitalizes me so much. Like if I'm ever feeling burnt out, it's like the most refreshing thing ever to be around. It was super exciting to receive the Governor's Arts Award. I just feel like I've been at this for quite a while, even though it's the Emerging Artist Award, and I've been just kind of trying to do it in my own way. So it feels very gratifying to be like seen and appreciated for that.
There's nothing. All right. This song is called Soft Skin. This song is called Lavender Night. This is called History Walking. History walking, part the middle, left the tide out. I woke myself up and a dream became a hideout. My heart was stolen and you didn't even find out. So glad that I found you there, found you, I found you there. Sip of water, but I'm standing at the river. It's all around her and she couldn't even feel it. You look a mile from your kneecap to your eyelid. The sky's so cloudy here, cloudy, cloudy here. Last night, freak out in the car, stopped to get gas, the line would bar. On the way home, almost full moon, let's move slowly up with the champagne to talk. 27 seconds, did you tie his voice, not from yesterday? I'm just listening today, I'm just listening, saw you standing there. Saw you standing at the Celestial Theater. You know the saying that the future is a feeler. I found a penny piece of heads up, it's a lucky thing. I found you there, found you, I found you there.
On behalf of Governor Holcomb and myself, thank you for watching. Over this last hour, we've had the chance to honor some of Indiana's finest artists and most steadfast advocates for the arts. But we know that this is only a small representation of art in Indiana. The voices, brushstrokes, and words of Hoosier artists have made indelible marks, not only here at home, but around the world. Indiana art is critical to the fabric of who we are, and it's foundational to who we will become. The next generation of artists are now practicing their craft in classrooms, basements, and barns all across our great state. They need our continued support and nurturing. They will carry the torch forward and help share our story, one creation at a time. So we would like to leave you with some final words from this year's recipients.
I don't labor under the delusion that making a life in the arts is easy, but it can be so fulfilling. I really do hope that young people see that it is a way that you can make your way in the world.
It's important to support the current artists and the children that will be the future artists to continue this tradition in a beautiful part of the country.
Many don't understand the role that the arts play in a well-balanced community.
They'll say that the arts are just the cherry on top, when in fact they need to be a piece of the fabric for your community.
A vibrant arts culture benefits our community both economically and emotionally.
If you're going to have a healthy, strong community, the arts have to be present.
By supporting local artists, you're actually building authentic local culture. And we're making this a place where people want to be, where they want to stay, and where people want to move to.